and welcome to the Afterspark podcast, an episode-by-episode recap of the Generation 1 Transformers cartoon. I'm Els.
And I'm Specs.
And today we're going to be talking about episode number 80, Fight or Flee. Let's talk about giant robots today, shall we?
Yeah.
We open with Scourge and Cyclonus hunting down air raid in the depths of space.
With some surprisingly stationary asteroids.
But Scourge and Cyclonus are in for a surprise when the rest of the aerial bots come out from behind a rock and begin attacking him.
It's an ambush!
Scourge asks Cyclonus what they're gonna do, to which he responds, "Attack!" The greatest tactical mind of our generation here. Cyclonus, you idiot, you're outnumbered.
Upon realizing their mistake, the two cons go into a convenient nearby vortex to escape, one that isn't hinted at all in the background of the previous shots.
They exit near a planet and land very gracefully, face down on the surface.
Ah yes, the elegant art of eating dirt, or a dirt-like analog.
They're greeted by a bunch of random Autobots.
We're serious about being greeted, by the way. They're like, and it's possibly Sandstorm saying this, "Hello, welcome to Paradron."
Cut to Cyclonus being carefully cradled and spoon-fed Energon from a teal RC.
The Paradron medic. And, he immediately shoves her over when he gets up.
And then promptly shoves his entire face into a nearby fountain of Energon.
Their hosts are quickly going to come to the conclusion that their guests suck, because, Jesus, he is just guzzling that Energon.
And this is actually Sandstorm's introduction episode, despite him already appearing in previous episodes.
You could say this is Sandstorm's first and somehow last appearance.
He might show up in backgrounds of other episodes, but yeah, it's kind of the last one where he has much of an impact character-wise.
Plot-wise.
Yeah. Cyclonus and Scourge realize that their hosts are unarmed, and therefore they are wimps.
Like, they literally call them wimps. So, the two cons break into some kind of communication room to phone home.
But not before throwing a weirdly, uniquely designed one-off character through a nearby monitor.
His entire top half is in the wall, and we had to ask, is that guy dead? We did not have high hopes for him.
They make contact with Galvatron, and Cyclonus tells his boss some pretty little white lies.
Like that they demolished the aerial bots.
Scourge jumps in to formally invite Galvatron to come fuck some shit up.
Back at a Paradron open mic night, Sandstorm is advocating that their visitors are bad news.
But the rest of the population is like, oh, they just had a little too much Energon, no biggie.
Cyclonus and Scourge overhear this little talk and gleefully intervene to prove the pacifist citizens wrong.
Before being joined by Galvatron and the other Decepticons.
Galvatron is heavily implied to have killed a man here.
I'm sure he's killed several men, but yes. They imprison Sandstorm, presumably because he was attempting to organize a resistance.
Sandstorm is able to escape his prison cell, but is pursued by Brawl and Razorclaw.
Dune buggy exits stage left, pursued by a tank and a lion.
Yep. Sandstorm loses a game of chicken with a lion and careens off the edge of a non-OSHA-approved bridge because it, has no railings.
Brawl and Razorclaw are satisfied that he is most definitely dead, right up until he turns into a helicopter.
And then they remember that they too can fly. But hopefully he can lose the two of them in all of these convenient caves they find themselves in now.
Well, they don't actually go after him, apparently, but Diveball manages to spot him from the air instead.
Sandstorm has apparently pulled an old rocket ship, from storage and is fueling her up.
And despite Diveball's best attempt, Sandstorm is able to escape on the rocket.
Galvatron is informed of the escape by the sultry voice of Bruticus,
who sounds way too articulate here for a man who's supposed to be, and I quote, as dumb as a bag of hammers, according to the TF Wiki.
I have some suspicions that it's probably supposed to be Onslaught rather than, the full combiner.
Yeah, but it is the full combiner.
Yeah. We also briefly see Blitzwing, who's already defected from the Decepticons at this point.
Sandstorm transmits a distress signal that's picked up by the other Autobots, who hook him up to a lie detector, which I hope to hell is more effective than the ones we currently have.
I mean, they're made of metal and they... maybe. Who the hell knows? They don't believe him that Paradron exists, but the detector doesn't say he's lying, so they hear him out.
Sandstorm informs them that Paradron is a group of escaped Autobots who fled the Fourth Great War.
The Autobots agree to help after they find out that Galvatron is up to no good, as per usual.
Blur says what we're all thinking, which is Galvatron knows we're coming, and this is not a good idea.
Do you want to die? This is how you die.
Back on Paradron, Galvatron has his new getting paid and exposure workers working overtime to create weapons for him.
Bruticus is here to answer all of Galvatron's metaphorical questions, much to Galvatron's aggravation.
An Autobot ship is approaching the planet.
The Decepticons fire on and destroy the ship with a molecular cannon.
But don't worry, Rodimus's grand plan here was to throw a decoy ship out and have them destroy that, basically.
He and his Autobots are on a nearby moon planning their attack.
Ironhide and presumably Ratchet make a brief appearance in the world of the living in the middle of a group shot.
Roddy splits bots off into task groups.
Sandstorm and Springer are sent to evacuate the planet's population.
Ultra Magnus, Blur, and Wheelie are sent to gain control of the Energon supply by any available means.
Then they all fly down to the planet.
And evidently, that guy from before did live from being smashed through the monitor, only to get blown up by Rodimus, so he's having a real shit week.
He's having a time here. Rodimus, Springer, Sandstorm, and the best character, Skylegs, arrive at the prison to free the captured population of Paradron.
Sandstorm tries to rally the rest of the inhabitants, while Skylinks just dumps a fuck ton of weapons in front of them. Rodimus tells them to fight or flee when they try to argue that fighting is wrong.
Title drop!
The other group are ambushed by Decepticons.
Ultra Magnus calls Rodimus and tells him he can't complete the mission.
Rodimus tells him to change the plans and blow up the planet's Energon core instead.
Sandstorm is not pleased about the now imminent destruction of his homeworld. And to which I must respond, come on now, you can't be a real hero if you haven't destroyed an ecosystem or blown up a planet or 5.
Rodimus invites the residents of Paradron to live on Cybertron, and they all escape off planet in escape pods that they've just had lying around in case of emergencies.
They basically say that.
Yeah. Surprisingly prepared, despite the fact that they didn't use the damn things when the Decepticons attacked.
Sandstorm leads Ultra Magnus into the planet's core.
Ultra Magnus grabs a patrolling security missile.
Don't ask.
We don't understand it either.
And he then throws it at the Constructicons that are also there, blowing up this little vehicle they were in.
Which was hopefully not a person.
Well, it's certainly not now.
So they arrive at the core, and Ultra Magnus has a moment of hushed reverence, saying, "I've never seen anything this beautiful in the entire galaxy."
Before uttering the incredibly iconic line, "All right, give me the bomb."
It's just such a jump. Ultra Magnus and Sandstorm make a beeline for the planet's surface, but not before running Galvatron over.
Galvatron has a strange moment of lucidity, realizing that Ultra Magnus isn't actually a coward, so something must be wrong if he's fleeing. He then orders the rest of the Decepticons to abandon the planet, and I remain convinced that it was the head injury he got from getting bowled over by Ultra Magnus in car mode that allowed him to have this brief moment of lucidity.
Mm-hmm. From the moon, the Autobots watch the planet explode.
Sandstorm comments that it is as beautiful in death as it was in life.
Rodimus decides that this is the moment to be a giant asshole, saying that, hey, Cybertron's better anyway.
Fuck you, Rodimus, Jesus Christ. And that's where the episode ends, just so you know. It's Rodimus being a giant asshole.
Yep.
But the last couple of episodes have been a lot, haven't they? A terrible singing episode, and then the destruction of an entire civilization. In the next episode, Web World, we're gonna take it down a notch and sit ourselves down on the good old therapy couch for some quiet, well-thought-out reflection. Or we would if our patient wasn't fucking Galvatron!
Oh god, I still can't get over the fucking building things therapy.
It'll be a good time.
Yes.
Anyway, Specs has some fanfic graphics today.
Yep. Alright, so the first one fanfic rec is Airplanes, Spaceships, and Trucks, Oh My, by Jason Voorhees, G1 Cartoon Continuity, rated T, / and Jen. So our pairings are Skyfire and Starscream, Astrotrain and Blitzwing, Octane and Sandstorm, and Blur and Hardhead. And there's a lot of characters. It's an Autobot and Decepticon ensemble. And in summary, 1.5 weeks of peace isn't much, but it's a start. Skyfire and Starscream are working together on the Decepticon base, dancing around their feelings. Starscream's just getting frustrated. Cyclonus has just arrived in Autobot City as the official Decepticon liaison. He has his own issues to work out, and Dirge, Thrust, and Ramjet might, gasp, make some Autobot friends. So I picked this because, Paradron was an idyllic, peaceful planet, and this, which is the third part in the You Gotta Talk About Your Feelings series, and I'm pretty sure we've recommended the first two prior to this. And just the fact that it's a series that involves a possibility of peace, and hey, I'm pretty sure Sandstorm would have fucking enjoyed that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Alright, and the next one is Everyone Loves Slinkies by Raised by Moogles. G1 Cartoon Continuity, rated G, it's Jen. There's no pairings, and our characters are Rodimus Prime, Ultra Magnus, and Daniel Witwicky. And in summary, Magnus makes an odd discovery. Not bad, just odd. And the ellipses are essential here. And so I picked it because it's silly, peaceful, and maybe this was the general ambiance of Paradron prior to the Decepticons showing up.
Prior to Cyclonus deciding to use their fountain as his new trough, yes.
Yes. And yeah, it's a one-shot, so that's it for Fanfic Rex. And that just about wraps it up for us today. Remember to check us out on Tumblr or Pillowfort as Afterspark-podcast for any additional information, show notes, or links we may have mentioned. You can also find us on Twitter at AftersparkPod, all one word, and various other locations by searching for Afterspark podcasts such as AO3, iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube, just to name a few. And feel free to send us questions on Tumblr, YouTube, or AO3. Till next time, I'm Specs.
And I'm Alice.
Doodles!
Now the question is, who is he cooking on? Because I don't think it would be himself, though.
And at some point, someone's just like, don't set the volcano off!